Welcome back to Markets Today. I'm hosting Steve Biko, Wafula, Soko Analyst, and we are having a conversation around the trade deals that Kenya has made with several countries, bilateral trade deals, and some of them, of course, multilateral. And in the first half, we had talked about the trade deal with the UK, but right now, and of course, the trade deal with Congo. Right now, there is a tiff after the Deputy President of Kenya made a remark about the cows, there being no cows in DRC, and to that effect then, the DRC really desperately need Kenyan products. I don't know what your take is on this.
I think the best way to address this is to look at the numbers. There are 90 plus million people. We are 49 plus million people. It behooves the point who has more cows. I mean, cows are the natural livestock aspect for any African country. So for me, irrespective of my political ideology, I think the president should have been more keen. He is the Deputy President of Kenya. He has a team of researchers behind him. Before he speaks, whether it's to an informal audience, his words carry weight. It behooves the point that a leader of his caliber should actually be very measured and deliberate in how they're able to say things. And we've shown the world the kind of Kenyans we are. We've demanded apologies from Tanzania, we've demanded apologies from South Africans, from Nigerians, from Bishop Didi Jakes, from South Korea, from CNN. So it's fair game for Congolese citizens to actually demand an apology from us without any excuses. So, but I believe the embassy, our ambassador to Kinshasa, Dr. Masafa, has been able to address the issue. We've seen politicians actually coming into it. My request is not to politicize the matter, but to actually simply apologize and move on, because we both need each other.
Absolutely.
And we've seen DRC has actually become the newest member in the East African community, presenting a huge opportunity in terms of market for anything in Kenya you can be able to produce. So the statement was actually very reckless. If you look at what we gain to lose if they decide to do what we Kenyans do to other countries in terms of demanding an apology.
Someone tell Kenya.
Yes. So,
do you think this will adversely affect the trade deals that were signed between Kenya and Congo a few
I don't think so. Congo needs us. We need them. They've just joined into the East African community. We are very critical. In fact, it's Kenya that really pushed hard for them to join. This is a diplomatic issue which I believe Kenya has the resources and the capacity to be able to handle it. The only issue is that we are politicizing the issue. It makes it a very good story. It's a
political season.
Yeah, it makes it very good political fodder to actually engage, and it was very irresponsible of Ruto and his team to actually talk up, because they've opened another front for them to be hit by anyone who does not subscribe to the political ideology. But I do not think there'll be any further ramifications to the deals that we've been able to make with them. I mean, how many Congolese live in Kenya? How many Kenyans are actually taking business there? So this is something I believe by the end of this week will be sorted out.
I truly hope so. Generally in the region, they fear Kenyans because we are very aggressive business-wise, and perhaps
we are worse than Nigerians in terms of how aggressive we are. And the comment doesn't really help us, and I'm praying that Tanzania doesn't really join the conversation.
I'm actually praying so, and
because the moment Tanzanians will join the conversation, then it will become a serious diplomatic tiff that we might have to involve our presidents to resolve it. Because we know how Tanzanians feel about us in terms of business. Such a comment, it baits them. And I'm also hoping that the deputy president can actually swallow his pride and
really apologize
without giving excuses. It doesn't matter what he was trying to explain and underscore the opportunity that we have between DRC and Kenya. His leadership dictates that he does such certain things in a particular manner.
Let me go back to, let's forget about the deputy president for a minute. Let's go back to the deal. Tanzania looks like, or should I say Kenya would Tanzania, the new Tanzanian leader, last year successfully. And it looks like right now our balance of trade is in their favor significantly, as opposed to previously. The regional arrangements or trade deals that we are signing, are we looking at the real benefits? Because it looks like while in fact there is growth in Kenya, the growth in the region is faster than the growth in Kenya.
When the president of Rwanda was the chairman of the AU, one of the things he really pushed was to actually remove air restrictions in terms of air travel, because it's very expensive to travel from here to South Africa or to Rwanda than it is to Dubai. And this cascades down to what we're talking about, the East African region, in terms of the leaders. Our presidents might agree amongst themselves and they might sign the trade deals, but we are the common people who actually execute the deals. And for the longest time, Uganda was actually our biggest trading partner in the world.
Certainly.
But if you look at this now, the trade volumes have actually significantly dropped. And the Republic of Tanzania President, Madam Suluhu, has been on an offensive charm, wooing all the African presidents to her side. We've seen the infrastructure development the late President Magufuli did in Tanzania in terms of the port. They're doing more business than we are. And currently, Tanzania is actually growing very fast. You look at their business, you look at their model, they're able to handle the issues that affect growth of business, like corruption, differently than us. Impunity differently than us. The reason why we are struggling in Kenya is because impunity and corruption have actually capture our trade instruments, our political offices, parliament, senate, and the like.
So you're saying our biggest hindrance to leveraging on some of these trade
is
deals
impunity and corruption, because East African residents are actually afraid of us. They know we are very corrupt. They know we'll do anything to actually access. And the fact that we've not been able to actually deal with impunity and corruption is actually a cancer for us. And we're losing deals to Rwanda. We're losing deals to Tanzania. And why I'm afraid, the economic impact of the Deputy President's comment in regards to DRC will favor Tanzania, because Tanzanians will woo them.
DRC.
And Tanzania will offer them more than us.
Because and tell them we are the nice guys here.
Exactly, and we are gentle. And Dangote, when Dangote was trying to set up his factory here, he actually said that Kenyans are very aggressive and very scary to do business with than even Nigerians themselves. So we have, our reputation precedes us, and this is why it's actually very paramount and important for our foreign policy. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs to actually handle this matter very fast and actually convene a meeting and actually show that we're actually very remorseful. And at the end of the day, we need DRC, because whatever we are producing, I don't think Kenyans have the money to actually, you work in a factory and you cannot afford what you're producing. So we need to expand to more markets. If you look at the balance of trade between Kenya and Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania, Kenya and South Sudan, we're losing out. We're not growing.
Yeah.
And this is something, this reflects very badly on this administration.
All right. I want to leave that one at that. Let's go to the African Free Continental Trade Agreement, or African Continental Trade Agreement. Should we expect more trade continentally because of this?
When Kagame was the chairman of the AU, I was very confident that a couple of concessions will be done. We cannot be able to talk about trade if we cannot talk about logistics. There's no I'm going to transport my water from here to South Africa if it's very expensive to go to South Africa than it is to go to Dubai.
South Africa is far, even
Mozambique. Yes, it's very difficult for me to do a road trip to South Africa. So trade comes in terms of regulation, in terms of logistics, in terms of security. These are three key issues that African leaders are not addressing. We need to remove air traffic charges. We need to make it free for guys to be able to travel across Africa. That's the only way we're going to look at Africa, Pan-Africanism in terms of in terms of African trade. Secondly, we need to look at the issue of security. How safe am I to take my trucks from here to South Sudan? How safe am I to have my trucks from here to DRC? How safe am I for my trucks to leave here to Nigeria? Africa needs to sit down and address the issue of insecurity, secondly. Third, Africa needs to actually agree on tax tariffs, because this is the biggest headache. Currently, we're having our revenue authority with Tanzanian authority fighting about the importation of onions and poultry products like eggs and chicken. Same thing to Uganda, same thing to Southern Sudan. I mean, the other day we saw 14 trucks being burnt. So we are not able as a country to address significant small issues that are actually overall having a bigger ripple effect on the economy. So it's a fallacy to talk about African trade when we're not looking at the issue of air traffic, the issue of security, the issue of logistics, the issue of regulation. How do you harmonize our taxation? And Kenya has made it worse, because now if a truck is going to Congo and it's branded, you'll pay tax in Kenya, in Nairobi County, Nyandarua, Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, Kakamega, Bungoma, Busia.
So you have to pay some levies to all these counties. Exactly,
and this is an issue that actually needs to be addressed. We need to harmonize taxation across Africa. We need to harmonize taxation across East Africa. And you know, the devil is in the detail. When you look at the blueprint, the details, this is where you see the problems.
And you don't think the trade agreement has successfully sorted these issues?
No. Kagame is the only African president who's been pushing for this. I've not seen Uhuru pushing for this. I've not seen Sulu, well, since she took over, she's not. Museveni has not talked about it. I don't know who's the new president of Burundi. I know Kagame has actually been pushing for it significantly. Yeah. The need to reduce air traffic charges, because there is no point of talking about African trade
when the logistics are against it.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Let's move to the US. We have a trade deal in the works with the US. It was started by Donald Trump and Uhuru at that time, and now Uhuru is trying to finalize it with Joe Biden. What are your thoughts about it? Is it really beneficial to Kenya?
Any trade with the US is actually very beneficial to Kenya. The question is, what are we getting out of it? Access to markets. KQ will be the biggest beneficiary. In terms of being able to import and export electronic will be actually very cheaper. Get into a KQ flight, go to US, come back with your stuff, sell them. Yeah. The Eldoret airport is actually working. All cargo has been rerouted to Eldoret. So it's actually very good in terms of...
all cargo in the country?
Not all cargo in the country, but majority of air cargo that actually going either into regional countries that needs to come through Kenya first. So it's actually important. My challenge with the US trade is how it's going to affect our agriculture in one way or the other. So it will affect agriculture in the sense that we will not be able to revive our cotton and pyrethrum farming. And it's actually very important in terms of Western Kenya.
And why is this?
Because I think one of the clauses that we need to let Mitumba trade continue.
Yeah.
So we need our American traders to actually bring the Mitumba into Kenya. That is one. I also know there are military concessions which were not privy to the public, and which is okay because of global security in terms of terrorism. My concern is what are we getting out of it in terms of, for example, our national carrier. What are the charges? How easy it is going to fly to US. We see it's still a challenge for any Kenyan citizen to get US visa. Was this addressed or not? For Kenyan traders to actually be able to get into US and come back. Was this addressed or not? What are the nitty-gritty details in terms of Mitumba, in terms of what is going to be the overall impact on our agriculture in terms of pyrethrum and cotton? Because I know these are the key pillars that this administration is trying to do in terms of Western Kenya to create jobs and actually get farmers back to trading. The other aspect is what are we doing in terms of knowledge transfer? We're going to do a lot of electronic imports. But when are we going to start doing our own
learning and developing our
My
own
challenge to the president and any other administration that's going to come in the next 8 months is get the right people to accompany you to do these trade concessions.
I have faith that he's been doing this, Steve. You yourself mentioned that the Kenya Chamber accompanies the president, private sector accompanies the president, the Kenya Investment Authority accompanies the president, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs
accompanies the
president.
But
and even trade and industry.
If you look at, you see now, a tree is known by its fruits.
The fruits are yet to mature.
Since 2017?
Hopefully.
We've signed a lot of deals across. We've signed deals with France. We've signed deals with China. We've signed deals with UK. We've signed deals with South Africa.
I am hoping that the fruits will mature in time, perhaps not in this administration.
And you see, I have no problem with the deals. I'll go back to the same point I keep saying. Business is relevant and important if you're able to move your goods and services. Failure to move the goods and services, you are not doing any business. So how easy it is, how powerful is our passport to travel? How many countries can I travel without having a problem with my passport?
We'll come back to that. I need to close the conversation with the market, because this is a market show, and I have 4 minutes. In what ways will some of the, for example, just you can outline, I know you mentioned that Equity Bank might need to have some good conversations with the ministry in DRC, but in what ways will this, some of that affect market performance of some of the leading counters in the market? Will the trade deals in Doha affect some of the counters locally, etc.? So let's just do a wrap up of how this will affect
I think I commend the president for what he's doing. He's focusing on work. Unfortunately, everyone else behind him is not. Everyone is focusing on August 8th, 2022. Our stock market, unfortunately, out of the 60 plus listed companies, we only have 10 that are actually aggressive and moving. And out of those 10, 60% of those 10 are actually controlled by one brand. So I don't see...
Controlled by one brand?
Yes, controlled by Safaricom. Safaricom is the biggest mover. Safaricom moves anyway the market. The 20 share index and all share index actually affected by one counter. They follow suit. So I don't see the trade deals having any impact on the overall performance of the economy until after August. Because many companies are holding back in terms of spending. They're waiting to see who is going to be the next president, who are going to be the governors and the members of parliament.
They need to know who they are dealing with.
Exactly. Secondly, I think what's happening in Ethiopia might have an impact on the economy, especially through Safaricom, because we see the investment capital that Safaricom has put there. What's happening in DRC might not have any significance on the share, because of share
when
of equity
you say
at the stock market, because 70% of 90% of actually it's 67% of market share are actually controlled by foreign investors. And looking at them, foreign investors have more data to analyze, and to them they know this will be addressed. They have more experience. So the only issue we need to look at is how Ethiopia is actually doing. The other thing I'll be more concerned about is how politics is actually going to affect our markets. Because overall, our politics is going to affect our food security, which will overall affect the agricultural sector.
Food security?
Yes, because farmers may not plant the way they want, because one, we're having a problem with climatic change. We've seen a shift in how our climate is behaving. It's not the traditional way.
Yeah.
And I commend our meteorological department for being very efficient in terms of being able to point this out. How significant are these deals in terms of what dent can actually do for us? Like the one for cows, we cannot meet the demand in Qatar. It's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. The deal we had with South Africa in terms of access, it's yet to be actualized. Because I remember Kenya had requested to remove the requirement for a Kenyan businessman getting a visa on arrival, because South Africans don't have that. So South Africa is supposed to remove that. It's yet to be actually implemented. And I think the problem this government is actually having is the need to communicate accurately and adequately on actually what's happening. The Kenya Chamber of Commerce needs to communicate better. The Kenya Trade Investment Office needs to do the same. KEPSA needs to do the same. Communicate more. Do more analysis. And I think also if you look at the performance of our shilling overall, it's actually struggling. So the only positive thing that the deals can have on the economy at the moment is to boost up the performance of our shilling, make it a bit stronger
by
against
increasing trade and
yes,
of course the forex inflows. Yes.
But right now we're all playing wait and see until August.
Indeed. I mean, some of the institutions you're even mentioning, some of their leaders are running for office, so Wait and see.
Oh, and we've seen significant members of the government quitting. So in terms of policy change, implementation, we're going to see a lot of the energy. We don't have a boss at the energy sector. It's very crucial in the energy. Actually, this will have an impact on Kenya Power's performance on the stock market. Yes.
Wait and see.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Steve, for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, that was all the time we had for our conversation today. We've talked about Congo, we've talked about the UK deal, we've talked about the Doha deal, we've talked about the US deal that is still being paneled out by the US officials and Kenyan officials. We've also mentioned on the African continental free trade area. Well, I think that was quite an agenda, and I enjoyed every bit of it. I hope you caught it. Steve says that none of these deals will significantly affect any stocks in the market. Even Equity Bank will be resilient to the diplomatic tiff between Kenya and DRC. We hope that that is the truth. We hope that that will be the case. Well, that was all the time we had. Join us again tomorrow as we talk about the supplementary budget and affiliated macroeconomic indicators. I was your host, the Ambaramogi, hosting Steve Biko Wafula, the Soko Analyst, and that is all we have. I'll leave you with the currency trading of the day running on your screen. Goodbye.